don't know what they put in this waffle, but it's one of the best breakfasts I've ever had in my life. Fuck yeah. I've just found a page on TikTok which is 100,000 questions for deep thinkers, and I've seen one question and I already like the sound of it. So before going through the rest of them, I'm going to start recording and just go through the questions and answer them. So I'm going to scroll to a random one. Bang. Philosophy question to think about. What moment made you realise life is short? Honestly, probably when my nan died last year, and then a year went by afterwards. Like when it was a year anniversary from her death, like I knew life was short, and I always sort of lived by that before anyway, but that really put it into perspective when a year had literally gone by in the space of like a week, it felt like, and I was like, oh shit, like it really is that short. And it just continues to go. If you could have one conversation with your future self, what would you ask or tell them? Probably, did you do everything that you said that you would do, and was it worth it? That's a tricky one. Right, now this one actually says, tricky question for deep thinkers. What single invention has had the most influence on the world? Has to be the mobile phone. Smartphone, if you will. Has to be. What is humanity's greatest flaw? I'd probably argue the same answer as the last question, and that being the phone and technology and social media altogether. Plenty of other bad things in the world, but that's all I can think of right now. Is it possible to have true freedom without any constraints? I think in terms of how you perceive freedom, yes, but technically no. Because you could have all the money in the world, but you're still not going to be allowed to do certain things without there being consequences, if that makes sense. Next one. Can good exist without the presence of evil, or are they inseparable? There's no light without dark. There's no good without bad. There's no easy without hard. So no, I don't believe good can exist without the presence of evil. I believe good can exist and you can push away the evil, or at least try your best to ignore it, or at least learn how to deal with it, but it won't ever not be there, I don't think. In a world plagued by chaos and uncertainty, is there any room for hope? Absolutely. I think the world's always going to be filled with uncertainty and chaos, and the only thing certain in life is uncertainty and death. Therefore, there's hope for anyone who can find the willpower to create hope, or at least acknowledge it and think of life in a hopeful way. Next one. What's the thought that always seems to be on your mind before you go to sleep? What action do I need to take tomorrow in order to be better than I was yesterday and get me one step closer to my goals? To put it short. Philosophy question. What fears have the most control over your life, and how do you comfort them? My biggest fear is not pursuing or reaching the goals that I've set out for myself. So in order to control them, I take extreme action every single day. Philosophy question. Is it better to be loved or feared? I'm going to say loved. Philosophy question. What's something that you've regretted the most? Honestly, I don't believe in regret, but if there's anything I do regret, in hindsight, it's not taking action sooner. But then everything happens for a reason, and I don't believe that I would have been ready for the fruition of the action that I would have taken any earlier in my life than what I'm taking now, if that makes sense. Like, I could have wished to be rich at 16, but 16-year-old me may not have been able to handle being rich. so it will happen when it's meant to happen. Is the fear of death rooted in a deeper fear of not having truly lived? Absolutely. Absolutely. I do not fear death one bit. And this is something I talk about my friends with quite often. If anything, death enables me to make the most of every breathing second and ensure that I do everything I can to reach the goals that I set out for myself whilst I'm alive. So I do not fear death whatsoever, but it's definitely rooted in the deep fear of not truly living, which is what I believe most people live in, the state of fear towards death, because they fear that they're not going to do everything that they want to do with their life. Next one. Is love the highest and most noble human emotion, or are there other emotions that surpass in its significance? Ooh, love. I think for someone like me who isn't the most emotional, to put it straight, when you really think about it, yes, love is everything, because without money, without power, without anything, you will always crave, have, and want love from those closest to you. I think that's a good one. I think that would be dependent on how you view the world. Right, last one, and I'm going to end it here, but I'm enjoying this. Is there such a thing as truth, or is it relative? I'm going to say it's relative. Relative. Because, yes, things can be true, obviously, because you could say 2 + 2 is 4, and that's the truth. But whether sushi is good or not is not a definitive truth, because that's relative to your taste buds, if that makes sense. So yeah. Right, I enjoyed that. I like these questions. So depending on how this video goes on the internet will be dependent on whether I do one again. But these were fun. Okay, afternoon people. Had to go jet skiing again this morning. It was so good. Went out to the Atlantis this time. Was able to go so much faster than last time. Absolutely unreal experience. But today is Sunday, so I'm just going to do a little bit of pre-market analysis for the week ahead, do some back testing, get some footage sorted out, and then just chill today, man. They just got clipped by a seagull. Every time I've come to the beach for sunset on a Sunday, it has been an absolutely unreal sunset. So I'm at the beach again. We'll see what it's saying today. And that is what tonight is going to consist of: sunset and a shit ton of food. Just like that, absolutely beautiful. The vibes in this city, literally at any point in the day, it's just absolutely insane. Revuelto, Cybertruck, 6x6 Brabus G-Wagon and GT3 RS. What the fuck? Just then, literally all at once, in my same line of vision, I could see 2 Huracans, an STO, a Brabus 6x6 G-Wagon, a Cybertruck and a GT3 RS. All in the space of like 10 seconds. Dubai's insane.